Hey guys, I don't know how well I'm going to do talking because I've been sick for this past week and I'm trying not to cough now. I'm feeling better anyway, but as you can tell, there has been a bit of work done that I did not get on film. I did get my bushings installed, used my patented bronze bushing installer. To get those driven in earlier. So they are in both plates. The bigger bushings actually stayed on size when I drove them in. The smaller ones shrunk slightly, and so I had to run a little hone in there, and that finally opened them up enough that the things go in again. But we're going to just quick test fit to make sure that the gear's not sticking up past the center plate. This gear is critical you get it in the right direction because the spline is not centered inside the gear. So the spline you want to go toward the flanged side of the pump, I think. I hope anyway. That's the way I'm putting it together. So everything feels good so far. Yeah, we're gonna continue on and see how this goes. Okay, so I caught myself, thankfully. I almost tried to put this together without putting seals in first. So I got the other half together. The way they did this before, and I'm doing something similar, although with a slightly different seal, they had just a single lip seal in each side, but they had two sandwiched together face to face. So one to keep the oil in the pump and the other to keep the transmission oil out of the pump. So once again, I've got my seal installer. Where'd my hammer go? There it is. Okay. Got our gears back in here. Seals are installed in both plates. I've got some oil on the gears already. Now I've just got to kind of walk this together. This one is going to be the tougher one to get together, mainly because of getting it started, getting the seal started onto the gear. Because I can't, well, maybe not. Because I can't easily turn the gear. Actually, that made a liar out of me because that went a lot easier together. Oh, I hate it when it does that. Okay, got my bolts all cleaned, ready to go back in. I am going to put some thread locker on them. You do not want these coming loose inside, because if they come loose and come out, they're inside your transmission, and nothing good can come from that. So there is one bolt that's longer than all the rest. It goes here. The rest are all the same length. Now, according to the book, we torque these bolts down to 34 foot-pounds. The other thing the book calls for is to thread a safety wire through the holes in the heads of these bolts. However, these bolts were never drilled for safety wires, so that must be something that was done on the earlier pumps. I really don't know, but yeah, this one did not have that. And then it is, well, hang on. Well, we've got a little bit of a problem. This is going to have to come back apart. I test fit everything, or had turned everything before I tightened everything up, and it felt good. Now I can't get this to turn, and this gear will move. So I know this gear is okay, so I've got something wrong with the idler gear inside of here. So this is going to have to come back apart. Okay, well, we're finally back. I feel a little bit better about this now. Ended up having to take it back apart. Just had to get a little more aggressive in honing out that small bushing. It was still just a little bit tight in each of the plates, but working a lot better now. So we'll start cleaning up other parts and hopefully start getting this thing back together. Okay, so the pump over there is back on the base plate. Actually, well, it's never been on that one before, so I can't say it's back on it. I'm working on the first of my valve blocks. I cleaned out the lower portion, or the lower hole, and got the spool that goes in there cleaned up, but had to get the upper portion apart. Can't remember what it calls this section, but yeah, that came out of there. All this stuff came out of there, and there's, hold it up to the light, there's still a fair amount of crud inside of there. So yeah, all this has to get cleaned out. And then once this one goes back together, I can bolt it on, and then the one for the other valve has to get taken apart and all cleaned out. Okay, so I think I've got all my parts cleaned up. I'm making an attempt to put this back together. Hopefully I get it all back together the right way. Some of these pieces, like most of these upper pieces, I don't think it matters which side they go in. They're pretty much symmetrical. But we're going to start with this piece. It'll go in first. And we'll give everything a nice coat of oil as we put it in. So that will slide in from the end, maybe. And we'll try the other end. goes in better from that end. If it doesn't go from one way, try the other. Okay, so then we've got a cap that goes in each end. They're the same. They've got an O-ring on them to seal them in the bore. I've replaced all these O-rings. I just matched them up with ones out of my O-ring assortment. I believe I'm gonna need a hammer and a punch to get that seated. Yeah, maybe. And my driver tool makes its return. That one seated. Okay. After that, in each end, there'll be a ball bearing. These ball bearings were kind of rough from pitting and whatnot. I don't know how well they're going to work, but I don't have any replacements, so they're going back in. And then on top of each ball bearing is this little compression spring, and that fits into this holder. And it has an O-ring around it as well. Not liking that. Try putting this in like this. It's almost going. Okay, and once that is seated all the way down, there will be a plate that bolts on right here to keep that all inside. Now there's a little difference from one end to the other, but not a whole lot. The main difference is that on one end, I believe it's this end, you'll have this plate that bolts on too. I'm going to leave it off for now and just put this on. Now we'll assemble the ball and the spring on this end. Sure, have some more oil. There we go. Okay, now we've got our main valve spool ready to go back in. It slides in, or this is not quite symmetrical. You'll see this end has this counter bore. This end has a snap ring groove in it. This is the end that it has to go in from. I did not really disassemble much of this. I just cleaned it as it is. But everything has to slide in from this end, and then this snap ring goes back into that groove. Probably have to tap it a little bit. It's in. And then this is the part that makes me nervous. Let me get some pliers. This is the same thing I was doing last year when I lost a wrist pin keeper to put in my truck engine. Yeah, this is going to be just that much fun. Except I don't have a friend that has one of these laying around to save me this time. Well, we'll be back in a minute. Well, as always, it went right together once I turned the camera off. But the valve spool is back in. That one is all cleaned out and back together. So, yeah, I'm really glad I decided to take these apart, because there was a bunch of crud in there. I'm sure we'll find that in the other valve too. I don't know if I'll video doing much of that or not. I guess I didn't video much of this one, but anyway, this is going to be a pretty long video, so I probably won't. But anyway, I'll bring you back when I've got something to show you worth showing. we got it back together to this point. I think I'm going to call this a video because this is already extremely long. We got, obviously got the base plate mounted. Got the shifter back in. Got my new shifter boot and a new shifter knob on it. We're, really styling now. Got the valves mounted. I left out the electrical portion of this because I'm just not going to use it anymore. It's not really necessary for operating with regular cylinders, and I don't know if any of that still works, so I'm just not going to worry about it. What I still have to do, I've got to clean the inside of the reservoir out. I've got to make gaskets for this top and bottom, and get that put back on. I've got a new filter for it. I've got to get the housing cleaned out and clean the passages in that, but that's just wire brushing and cleaning parts, and yeah, that's not really fun to watch. So anyway, that's where we're going to end this one. I'm sorry guys that this got so long, but if you're still here, thank you for watching, and we're getting closer. I think, I hope. Yeah, anyway. Yep, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks again.